Hey y'all, I know y'all saw just a couple of days ago that I made dressing and a pretty big old ham. John's been eating it for breakfast in the morning. I've been having to stay away from it. And I made peas and I made those candied canned yams, real easy and simple. But I want to share with y'all something that was introduced to me by my brother-in-law Ryan, and his mother actually put out a cookbook which is fantastic for any mom to do, and it's called Mama's Ham Bone Soup in her recipe book. I call them ham dumplings, but they're good either way. And he asked me one Thanksgiving when I had a big old ham bone. I had a huge ham bone left over, big fresh ham. He said, what you gonna do with that ham bone? And I said, well, I'm gonna put it in peas and this, that, and the other. And he's like, oh, I'd love some dumplings or some ham soup from his childhood. So I said, well, let me see, is that in your mama's recipe book? And sure enough it was. So now it's been in our lives too. That's been several years back. So I want to show y'all what's so great about this is if you've spent the money on a ham and you've got this ham bone, and you know your ham bones have all that extra meat on there, but it's not enough like to slice off and enjoy for your meal, but you can get that and it can be in your dumplings. So this is almost like a free little meal extra after you've spent that money on that ham, and that's what I love about it. This is the drippings out of the pan. Y'all see them? And I did keep a little of the fat. I know y'all see that on top, but that's flavor. Yes, it is. So I'm going to put this in here, just like that. And I'm telling you, that is some kind of flavor. I'm going to taste it right now and see. I want to see how salty it is. That's good. It's not very salty at all, so that's good as well. But I just like to kind of see that because we need to taste our food to know what we need to add, don't we? And next I'm going to put this ham bone, and if you don't want to make this right after, you can freeze all of this. You can freeze your drippings, your pan drippings, and you can freeze your ham bone, and then you can make it later. So do not think it's a rushed job. You know, you can save it till another day. And see this ham bone, it's just got ham just kind of stuck around on the bone. That's going to be so good and delicious for us. Now into this, I know y'all saw that that's not enough pan drippings to cover that ham, and I want to cover that whole ham so I can get all the goodie out of it. We're going to boil this for somewhere around an hour or so. So see if I can show y'all. See, it's not quite covered. So now I'm going to add two. And if you have no pan drippings, her original recipe doesn't call for the drippings. I just knew to save them, okay? But if all you've got is a ham bone, that's fine. You can start with this because you're going to get plenty of stock out of that ham bone. We all don't do that as much anymore, cook with bones, because bones has so many good things that we need in our bodies, and we just don't do that anymore. It's a lost thing, isn't it? I know, and we really need it. We need it. We do. It's good for us. So guys, I'm just filling this up. I'm going to cover my ham. Just cover it with water so it'll cook all the, you know, I won't have to be flipping it. It can cook and cook and cook, and that'll give us plenty of stock to put our little dumplings in. Okay, y'all, our ham has been cooking for at least an hour because I was doing other stuff. And we have got this beautiful broth to strain. I like to get it good and strained. Y'all see the ham I've taken out and put on this cookie sheet for us to pick the bone. Let's get us some of this ham stock. This is ham stock, guys. Yes, it is. My pot's just about to get too full, so I'm going to stop. Just a little bit left there. And I'm going to return this to the stove and let it be staying nice and hot for our dumplings. All right, there we go. Can y'all see this ham bone that I pulled off here? Let me put this in the sink. It's a good thing about my canning kitchen, everything's just right here. Arm's length. I don't know how we all fit in here, I really don't. But Seriously, this ham it's just falling off here now. Just so tender and falling off in big old chunks. Big old chunks like that. And that's all I'm gonna do. It's hot, so I'm using this fork. If it were a little cooler, I'd just get my hands in there, and I might before it's over with. Oh yes. Oh, this is so good. Such a good way not to waste your ham. Yes, it is. Not that we waste it anyway, do we? If I'm not making this, I put it in peas and beans and potato soup and all kinds of stuff. All this leftover. See all this good ham? Anyway, guys, y'all get the idea. I'm going to continue this, and then I'll meet y'all back over at the stove, and we'll mix up those easy spoon drop dumplings. So easy. And we'll put this little meal together. I'm just taking a knife and I'm kind of chopping my ham because I've got some pieces off real big, sort of making it bite-sized pieces. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all do, y'all do. I know you do. Let me show y'all. This is a lot of ham came off that bone. Seriously, this is a lot of ham that came off that bone. I am right proud of it. Yes, I am. A lot of people throw this away. Is this not amazing? I know. Let me come show y'all up close. And I'm not going to tell y'all how much I ate while I was getting that ham off. No, I'm not. Y'all see that? That's a nice old pile of ham. Yes, it is. Next, let's mix up these spoon drop dumplings, huh? I've got y'all back over here by the stove with me. We've got all our stuff together. First thing we're going to do is mix up our little spoon drop dumplings. I'm going to try to put y'all down there. See if y'all can see everything. Alright, so first we're going to need 3 eggs. Y'all know these are fresh eggs from our girls. 2 and 3. Just like that. I'm going to beat them just a second like that. Get them kind of mixing around. I need 3/4 cup of milk. And I've got a cup in here, so I'm going to stop at 1/4. Just like that. That's going to be perfect. And if I need a little more milk, I'll do it. And kind of stir that around. Just a pinch of salt, okay? Just a pinch. Just like that. Just a pinch. And get this mixed together. And now into this I'm going to stir 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. Just plain old all-purpose flour, 1 1/2 cups. And y'all know you could certainly double this recipe. A lot of times I do, but I'm going to do just a single recipe for us tonight. See, that's 1, and then 1/2, and we will have it. Break that off. There we go. Move my flour, and let's stir this together. Y'all know y'all made chicken and dumplings with me before, and I'll roll out the dumpling dough and cut it, but this recipe is just mix and drop by a spoon. It doesn't get any easier than that, does it? Doesn't that look nice and pretty with all that egg in there? Beautiful and rich. I believe I'm going to find me a fork to kind of stir that around. There it is. There it is. My fork. So I can get all those little lumps. Well, not all of them. I shouldn't say all the lumps. It's okay for it to be a bit lumpy, okay? But I'm just kind of doing that to get it mixed really well. There we go. And I'm going to let this rest a minute. Just a minute. And we are going to get our ham stock to a rolling boil up here. Y'all see it's almost there, isn't it? See if I can zoom y'all in a bit. There we go. Now, rolling boil. And one thing I want to put in here is some black pepper. Well, I say black pepper every time. It's my pepper melange. You do whatever kind of pepper you want to do, and do as much or as little as you want to do. John and I like a nice little bite to it. Some Creole seasoning that we made in a separate video, or you can use some Tony's. Either way. How about let's use a little 1/4 of a teaspoon of each of them. I need a 1/2 a teaspoon of Creole seasoning for this big old pot, so I'm gonna do a 1/4 of Tony's, and I'll do a 1/4 of our homemade. We'll be all fair, won't we? There we go. And then a 1/4 of our homemade Creole seasoning. Yes. Now you see our dumpling dough. To me, that's a little too runny for dropping, so I'm gonna add a little more flour. This is an old recipe where there are no exact measurements, you know. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yes, one of them old time recipes. And I'll tell you what, I'll do this with y'all. I will try that and we'll see how that looks, but I believe it's gonna need to be a little more flour too. I believe we're gonna have to do just a little more flour. Let me get y'all in here. Y'all look pretty good. I like to drop, these are soup spoons, and I like to drop that size. Let's see what happens. It broke up a little bit, but I see it's still breaking up. It turned down my boil just a little bit, but I want them to cook. Y'all see that, how it's breaking up just a bit? Yeah, I do too. I see he sort of stayed whole. What I'm going to do is add a little more flour, because see, he's more or less just totally breaking up. Not good to me. I'll leave that in there. It's not going to hurt anything, but I'm going to add a little more flour. We're going to get a bit of a thicker consistency than that, okay? I added like 1/8 of a cup, and this is like another 1/8 of a cup, guys. So I'm going to say to our 3/4 cup milk and our 3 eggs, what I say, 1.5 cups of flour. I'm going to say 1 3/4, if not 2. Yeah, I'm going to put a little more than that. I'm going to say probably 2 cups. And don't be discouraged if you're reading one of these old time recipes like this, because honestly, they never measured. I'm telling you, I never saw my grandmother. I don't even know if she had measuring cups in her home, and I'm not joking with you. They just got in there and cooked, you know, and dumped, and it was how it looked. I'm not sure. I don't quite have 2 cups in there. I'm gonna do that and that, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna be somewhere, excuse me guys, somewhere around 2 cups, and I will put that in that recipe, okay, y'all? Let me show y'all what this looks like now. See how it's a little thicker? We'll see if it stays together. I'll tell you, I'm gonna take that out of there because I can't judge it with all these bits and pieces floating around. I know, I'm being a little silly, right? I know. Alright guys, now let's try this. Try this right here. Got me a spoonful and I'm going to drop it. We'll see what happens. I think that's going to be a little better. I'm going to drop another. I don't see it falling apart because they're on the bottom right now, or down around the bottom, so I can't see them. But I don't see anything, all that separation like I was seeing earlier. So I'm going to keep on a dropping here. And we're going to hope and pray for the best, right? And if your broth gets to where it's not still boiling and keeping those dumplings moving, then give it just a second to get caught up. Oh yeah, I see some poofy dumplings. Do y'all? Yes, looking good. Yes it is. All right, let's keep on a dropping. Y'all, you're gonna get to where there's hardly any room in the pot, you know, so you're gonna go to the edge, around the edge of the pot where you still see some broth, and that's where you're gonna drop, and then it'll fall to the bottom because the ones getting done are coming to the top. So just keep kind of on the edges is where I'll usually go. Sometimes I like to make me a hole, you know, but just drop it like that. Down around the edges is usually a real good little spot where it's still got some broth a showing for you. Alright, let's see if I can drop one down here in the middle. There we go. There. Aren't these rich looking little spoon dumplings with their egg in there? My chicken and dumpling recipe doesn't have an egg in it. So it's not yellow like this. This is pretty. Very pretty. And y'all know I'm going to scratch that bowl. I'm going to scrape it, scratch it, whatever I got to do to get one more dumpling out of there, right? No waste. No waste. That's right. That is the name of the game. There we go. Okay guys, I'm going to let these go a few minutes just like they are and let everything continue to cook, maybe even about 10 minutes, and I can kind of turn my fire down and let them cook just like you would chicken and dumplings or something. You just need to let these little dumplings cook for a little while before you add everything else in, and that way they're nice and they hold their integrity and they don't fall all apart on you. So I'll be back here in about 10 minutes. I wanted to tell y'all a little story while our dumplings are cooking, and I know y'all are so shocked that I'm going to tell y'all a little story. But seriously though, you know, I was a transplant years ago, back when I met John and thought I moved out to the middle of nowhere out here in the country. And my sister, my youngest sister, well, my middle sister too, they lived here for a while as well. But my youngest sister, she came up here and she met a good old country boy, and she married one too, a local guy from around here. And so she still lives up here, which I love because I get to see my nieces and nephews and my sister. And one of the things that I thought was really neat about it is my brother-in-law, Ryan, married my sister, but his mother's maiden name is Murray. Yes, of the Murrays. It's distant, like it's something like her daddy and John's Papa Murray were maybe like cousins or something, you know. It's distant, but still it kind of just closed that circle, like she and I were just transplants and then all of a sudden here we are related, you know. So it was just kind of neat. And a really cool little story. Ryan's mother's name is Robbie Murray, and her last name, that's her maiden name, Murray, but her last name is spelled M-U-R-R-Y with no A in it, and ours has A-Y. So I asked her one time, Miss Robbie, how is it that we're all related on the Murray side, except that it's spelled differently? And she said that her daddy went into the service, and when they checked him in and got all his paperwork done, it came back M-U-R-R-Y with no A in it. And of course, when you go to the government and you say, hey, my name's spelled wrong, well, you're already in there like that. That's how your name's spelled from now on. So just because of a typo, he lost the A in Murray. But they are of the same Murrays. And I just thought that was a really neat little story, you know, and it explained why it doesn't have the A in it. And his mother with her sister, they wrote a cookbook some years back, and she shared one with me as a home. It was, I believe it's when we built our home about 10-11 years ago, and she shared one with me, and I was so thankful for it. And it's got sweet little stories all in it. And I just want to read to y'all about this Mama's ham bone soup. I'm going to call it, because I'm kind of making it my own recipe, I'm just going to probably call it ham bone dumplings. But she's got stories with her recipes, and I love that. It says, Granddaddy Brooks Murray, which is neat because Brooks Murray is spelled with an A in it. See, he was before her daddy that went to the service and got the A taken out of it accidentally, introduced ham bone soup to the Cane Creek area, which is an area around here. His mother had made it. I learned to make it by watching him in the kitchen. When Gramps started doing the cooking, he always added Louisiana hot sauce. And of course, I'm going to add it too. So anyway, that's just a sweet little old story. And I'll have to tag Miss Robbie on there, and so she can watch it and get a good memory. But anyway, and y'all know this is what I'm cooking for supper for John and me tonight. But this big old pot, you know, I'll have plenty, and I'm going to share them with Ryan, because he's the reason why I ever made these in the first place, because he asked me to. And I'm going to get y'all back down here, and we're going to finish these dumplings up. I think that was just enough time for us to get them cooked. I've turned them down on low. Do y'all see these? Look how big and poofy they got. I know. That is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The only other thing we need to add is all this ham that we got off that bone. That's just amazing to me. Just amazing. It's like a free little supper, isn't it? Something to kind of recoup from buying that ham, right? I know it. Y'all, doesn't that look good? I know. Y'all see this? Yum. Yum, yum, yum. And just like Gramps, Murray, yes, I am going to put some dashes of hot sauce in there too, just like that. Just however much you like. Ours is Louisiana. You use whatever kind of hot sauce you want to, and it's going to be delicious. The only thing I need is the lid, which I have no idea where it is at this point in the kitchen. Oh, here it is. And I'm going to turn these on low, and they'll be here for John and me for supper.